Hey peeps, how's it going? So now, today, finally, Saturday, upload streak continues. We're doing the Q&A, and this is really to thank you guys for 1,500 subscribers, and it's amazing that we've got this far, and how fast my channel's grown lately. So you guys are obviously liking what we're doing, and this is a little bit of a way to reward you guys, get you guys on the channel, get you guys involved some more. Piston Center Court's been a huge hit, and thankful for all the DSA members out there who included me into this. So just want to thank everyone. So just without further ado, let's hop into it. Now, these have been recorded throughout the week, so if I'm wearing a different outfit, my hair's combed different, I look different, it's probably a different day when I recorded your question. But there's been a lot of them, so I had to do a little bit here and there every week. But let's get it going, man. Let's get it going.
Are you ready?
All right, Elite Jersey wants to know, who do I think's winning the finals? Now, I did this one earlier because it's one of the first ones that came in, but right now none of the games have happened when I recorded. Now, by the time game 1, game 2 should have been played, but I'm going with the Warriors. I want the Raptors to win, but until someone can prove me otherwise why the Warriors shouldn't win, I gotta go with the favorite. Now, they're just the talented team. Kevin Durant and Boogie, sounds like they might be coming in later on through the series. I'm not sure how long they're going to be out. But the problem I feel is just Kawhi is going to be exhausted, because when Toronto takes them out, they don't do as well. And they played them a lot during the Milwaukee series, and they eventually practically swept them in 6 games and won 4 in a row. They can't afford to do that. They got to take at least one to start out, but I am going with the Warriors. All right, next up we got Kane WWE wants to know if I like AEW. I've only seen the one show, which I think that right now that's all they have, and I did enjoy it. It was really good. The last 2 matches were incredible, but I don't know anybody yet. Like, I know the guys who wrestled at the end, but outside of those, I don't know anybody. From what I've seen so far right now, yeah, I like AEW. Nicholas wants to know, what do I think the Lions' record will be in their division? I believe it'll be 4-2 in their division. Will we sweep the Packers again? Yeah, I think that's a realistic chance. The Packers, they haven't really improved much. Unless injuries play a huge factor in the season, I think they'll be last in the NFC North. But no disrespect to them. I mean, they're just not that good. However, the Bears are probably the trickiest. I feel like a lot of what they did offensively, there's a lot of smoke and mirrors. I don't think we're going to see them do as well offensively. I do not believe in Trubisky at all. That defense is the reason they won the NFC North. I don't think the defense is going to be as good as it was last season. It should still be very good. Just don't know if it's going to be as good as it was last season. I think actually the Vikings are the wild card here. I think we'll split with Chicago and split with the Vikings and sweep the Packers. That is my realistic expectation. So yeah, 4-2 in the division, I think, is fair. Scar Tissue wants to know how I'm feeling about the Tigers. Disappointed beyond belief. I don't know how long I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to keep it short because there's a lot of questions coming up. But disappointing season. I am disgusted with this franchise. As much talent as they had since 2006, going to the almost at the finals, the World Series there, and what was it, 2013 again or something like that, and to not win a game in the finals is absolutely embarrassing. You let the wrong people go, kept the right people. Avila needs to go. He has no idea how to run a baseball team. it's pretty sad to see what the Tigers have come to. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that's not the real Chris Smoot, but he wants to know, who do I think the Pistons are going to take with the 15th overall pick, or do we trade it? I think we're going to keep the 15th overall pick unless someone knocks our socks off with a trade offer that is beyond crazy. I think there's a 30% chance we trade it, and I think if we do, we're going to be moving up or down. I don't think we're just going to totally get rid of it unless, like I said, someone blows their socks away. But I think Kevin Porter is going to be there, and I think that's our guy. Now, again, NFL and NBA draft are completely different. NFL, you kind of draft for what you need. NBA, take the best player available. I don't care if the best player available is a power forward. I don't care if it's a center. Our two best players are power forward to center. NBA, you take the best player available. So I'm kind of outside the top three. I don't know who's going to go where. And I don't think most of the NBA prospects or scouters know what's going to happen after the top three. So anything's going to happen. This one should be pretty crazy after the top three. I think the top three is pretty much solidified and set in stone. But I like Porter. I think he's going to be the best fit. I just like the build. He looks like he's more NBA ready. Noel wants to know if I think Blake Griffin can up his game for next season. I don't think he can get much better than what he did this season. This season was one of his best seasons of all time. Maybe with the exception of the year he finished top 4 in MVP voting. But Blake Griffin has turned into a different player. He's not so much more relying on athleticism, because most of his athleticism has betrayed him and gone away. He's still super athletic, just not as crazy as he used to be. The problem with this is he had that knee surgery, which I was praying he didn't have to have, but he ended up having. And he's not going to have a lot of free time to work out. Maybe some small stuff, but he's going to be questionable for right around the time whenever the Pistons start doing practice or training camp or whatever you would call it for basketball. So he's not going to have a whole lot of time in the offseason to work out like Thon Maker is doing right now. But I think he should be fairly consistent with where he was at this season, which is fine. We don't need much more from him. We just need other guys to step up and play better. Blake Superior wants to know who has the brightest future out of all 4 Detroit sports teams. And that is a good question. I think right now the Pistons are going to be consistent in making the playoffs, but they still have a lot of work to do before their championship pedigree caliber. The Red Wings just got Steve Yzerman, and their rebuild's going to take a little bit. I don't think it's going to take that long for the Wings to get back in the playoffs under Steve Yzerman. How long can they win a Stanley Cup? I don't know. The Tigers have a long way to go, which I've seen some questions about them. They're going to be coming here in a minute. Unless they came before, because I don't know how I'm going to edit this yet. But Tigers got a long ways to go. I think the Detroit Lions had the brightest future out of all 4 major teams here in Detroit. And, they get a coach that's defensive first. They go defense, free agency, and a little bit in the draft, and pretty much are going to be arguably one of the most, I don't know how to say it, surprising teams in NFL this year. So I think the Lions have the brightest future. Detroit sports fan wants to know, do the Pistons make any trade before the trade deadline? I think that is a safe bet. Now, are you talking about at the deadline or before it ends? Because they'll probably be fairly active before it ends. But I don't know. Do they make a trade before? I think so. Before it ends, I should say. They just got a lot of work to do, and they got a lot of time before the trade deadline, but before you know it will be here, and they're looking to get above the 8th seed. So someone who can come in here and help right away, I'm sure they pull the trigger on that fairly soon. Gavin wants to know, if I could get Jamal Murray in a trade, who would I give up? Well, first of all, I don't think Denver is going to be trading him. He's a pretty big building block for their future, but obviously he would be your starting point guard, so that would include Reggie Jackson, maybe give him a few expiring deals in Langston Galloway and John Lure. And, that's 3 expiring contracts right there for a guy. You get salary cap relief at the same time, but you will have to give him a pretty big deal for the future. But something like that. I'm not going to break the bank for him. I don't know. That might be a little bit too much given away, but who knows? Adam sent in 2 questions from 2 different accounts. I think that's the same Adam. I'm going to say it's the same Adam. I don't know. But he wants to know who should be the top free agent targets for the Detroit Pistons. 2 positions you need to cover: point guard and small forward. Small forward's really the biggest one in my eyes because our perimeter defense was god awful, and people poop on Bruce Brown all the time, and he's not a good offensive player at all yet, but his defense is all right, and it's only going to get better with time. But he's not a small forward; he's a 2, maybe a 1 guard. So you got mismatches all there. So you gotta go small forward. Which, to answer your question, I made a small forward free agency video. Go check that out. Brandon wants to know, how do the Pistons get back to winning playoff games? And that is get good. Obviously, first step is making the playoffs, which they did do that this season. The next step is to get better and get a better playoff seeding favoritism, or however you would word that. And really play to your strength. I feel like to Milwaukee, we didn't really play to what we do well. Maybe Milwaukee took it away, but Blake Griffin beat out the first 2 games, threw off our rhythm, and then we kind of adjusted game 2 while he was out, and Milwaukee just ran away with it. And then game 3 we had to adjust for Blake Griffin coming back. So obviously injuries play a big factor in that, but this team needs more talent and more help around the 2 big stars, Andre Drummond and Blake Griffin. H-Church17 wants to know what I think the Detroit Red Wings are going to do with Jimmy Howard. He's his favorite player, or her favorite player. I don't segregate. I don't know. I really don't, to be honest with you. I am curious to see how Steve Yzerman is going to operate this Red Wings team. And I think personally, I think they made a mistake letting go of Mrazek. I like Mrazek. But, I don't know. I really don't know. And it's going to be kind of a crappy answer because I don't know. It's really on Steve Yzerman. I have to see what Steve Yzerman's plan and direction is before I can even get an insight of what he wants to do with this team. Because right now, I don't know how he wants to build his team or anything. But right now, I think he's here to stay. Big Z wants to know how I basically think the Tigers are going to rebuild, either getting prospects or pitching. And I personally, I don't know. I don't think this team has a sense of direction right now. With the Tigers, I don't know if I talked about it earlier or not. Because I recorded this for several days. They really made me mad, or I shouldn't say mad because I still watch them every once in a while, but disappointed with front office decisions, letting good pitchers walk, keeping bad talent, and just letting the good players walk away, and then virtually trading people for nothing, which I know baseball rebuilds take time because you trade for a lot of prospects and hopefully they turn into something. But, that bullpen's been an issue for a long time, and I think they still need to fix that first and foremost. And then probably once Miguel Cabrera eventually winds down and retires, I think they'll start getting more all-star hitters up there. I think they're gonna focus on both, obviously, because you want to be good at all aspects, but I think pitching's gonna come first. I want to know if Bull's there at 15, should the Pistons grab him? Depends who else is up there. But yeah, man, if he's available, I think him and Thonmaker would be pretty good together off the bench starting out, and possibly those 2 might be future starters depending on how everything turns out with the Pistons. So again, I've said this several times, NBA, you take the best player available, and if he's there, he might be the best player available. I don't know. I trust Dwayne Casey and Ed Stefanski to do the right thing. Dominic wants to know if we'll trade Blake Griffin and enter the Kemba Walker sweepstakes. Blake Griffin is here to stay, at least for this season. Depending if we don't make the playoffs next season, he might become available. But I think Tom Gores got him just to sell seats. I don't think Tom Gores did it as a winning move. But regardless, he is here to stay. And Kemba Walker, we virtually have no shot at getting Kemba unless we do a signing trade. We can't get him free agency. We just don't have enough money unless something drastic happens. But I'd love to have Kemba if we could, man. Joey wants to know, how can the Pistons win a playoff game? We kind of already talked about this. They just can't suck. They have to get more talent through the draft and free agency to be good. Just do what you're doing now. You're building for the future, and they're on the right path. AEW fan wants to know, will AEW become the new WCW and take over WWE? I don't know, man. I don't know. The thing in Vegas that they did was only like 20,000 people, which is sold out regardless. They're on the right track. It's brand new. It's going to take time before it gets there. But if you watch Raw, which I haven't watched WWE consistently in like 12 years, it's just so bad. But they're on the right track. I heard that they were chanting AEW on Raw. Apparently one of the wrestlers said AEW, and now he's in big trouble. So, I mean, in time, yes, it could be. And I hope, for the sake of wrestling, that it is. And hopefully things can go back to the Attitude Era when everyone in the world watched wrestling.